Alright, so as you know, I'm Matt, and my topic is Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and heart disease. So both diseases are degenerative brain disorders. So I'm going to start off, what is Parkinson's disease? So as you can see in the picture, it results from a degeneration of dopamine, which is a releasing neuron of the substantia nigra. As it deteriorates, the dopamine-deprived basal nuclei, they target become overactive. So as you can see in this picture, it explains what I just said. So what are the symptoms? So as you can see, this old guy, he's bent over, which is a symptom of it. Trembles a lot. He doesn't really swing his arms, and he has a shuffling gait. Also, they're often slow initiating movements. So what causes Parkinson's? It says it's unknown, but there are many ways that it can destroy dopamine, releasing neurons. They say it points to abnormalities in certain mitochondrial proteins and protein degradation pathways. As you can see, this is Muhammad Ali. He's one of the great boxers. He has Parkinson's, and that's Michael J. Fox from Back to the Future, and he also has Parkinson's. So treatment. So there's drugs out there that could help with Parkinson's, but the main one is L-Dopa, and this drug helps alleviate some symptoms by passing through the blood barrier, converted to dopamine. Also, other treatments are Drepanol, deep brain stimulation, and gene therapy. So now we move on to Alzheimer's. So Alzheimer's is a progressive degenerative disease of the brain which results in dementia or mental deterioration. So this is just a breakdown of it. So as you can see, the cortex shrivels up, and that involves the thinking that you have in your brain. And the ventricles fill with fluid, and then the hippocampus shrinks too, which causes the symptoms. Actually, there's 3 stages of it. So there's a mid-early stage, which is 2 to 4 years, which commonly has memory loss in it. And then there's a second stage, moderate or middle, and that lasts a little longer, 2 to 10 years. And you can't cover up the problem anymore. So your symptoms of Alzheimer's are going to be very presentable. And then there's stage 3, which is severe late, which lasts 1 to 3 years, and it's confused about past and present. You're not really sure where you are or where you've been. So the symptoms. So as you can see, there's these 2 old people that are very confused. It's one of the main symptoms of Alzheimer's. They have memory loss. They don't have a long attention span. They're disoriented a lot, and they eventually lose language. They can become moody, irritable, and confused, and hallucinations can occur as well when you have Alzheimer's. So another cause, or one of the causes of Alzheimer's, is the brain tissue. They have plaques in between the brain and between the neurons. So these plaques have a beta amyloid peptide, which is a form of a precursor protein, and it can be caused by an inherited gene mutation of that peptide. As well, you have tau protein, which is seen in this picture right here. So you have this protein, it twists and damages the brain cells, the neurons, and they die, and they shrink the area of the brain. And these tau protein also, they're the railroad that bind the microtubules tracks together in the brain, and that's what causes the tangles, which kills the neurons, as I said before. Treatment. So there is no cure for Alzheimer's, but you can take medications. It can be used to treat memory loss, behavioral changes, and other symptoms. It's basically for treatment. You can't really treat Alzheimer's once you have it. The drugs can alleviate it, but not that much. And then I have a little graph up here, which is dementia versus Alzheimer's. And you can see that I honestly don't know why I have this chart up here. I'm sorry. I thought it was Parkinson's versus Alzheimer's. I put the wrong chart up. I'm sorry. So this is my first article. It's valvular heart disease and the use of dopamine agonists for Parkinson's disease. But the articles I found, I couldn't really find much on this topic of heart disease. But this article gave me a good perspective of having it, of like what you have when you get heart disease from Parkinson's. So this was done in the Journal of New England Journal of Medicine in 2007 by Renzo Zanetti, and he was the main guy who did this article. So the purpose was to assess valvular disease in patients with Parkinson's with an echocardiograph, and they're treated with pergolide, cabergoline, and non-ergo-derived dopamine agents. So they were evaluated. They evaluated the severity of regurgitation of the mitral, aortic, and tricuspid valves, and the degree of the deformity of the mitral valve in this study. So there was 151 participants, split into 3 groups, like those 3 drugs I said before. So the pergolide, cabergoline, and non-ergo. And there were 90 in the control group. So in the groups, they had to already take that drug for 12 months and not take either or the other 2 drugs. So they found that there was a significant increase in the risk of heart valve regurgitation in participants taking ergo-derived dopamine antagonists for Parkinson's. They also found that there was a significant increase in mean mitral tenon area in all groups taking these dopamine agonists, and they can increase valve heart disease in Parkinson's patients. And then the next study I found had to do with dementia and Alzheimer's disease. So it was heart failure and risk of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. It was in the archives of internal medicine in 2006. They examined that heart failure is a risk factor for dementia and Alzheimer's disease. The participants were 75 years or older. There was 1,301 participants. They were examined 3 times over a 9-year period to detect the patients with dementia and Alzheimer's disease using the Diagnostics and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders. And at baseline, 205 subjects had heart disease, 440 subjects had dementia, and 333 also had Alzheimer's disease. Most of the subjects were women, so 75% of the study were women. They found that heart failure is associated with an increased risk of dementia and Alzheimer's, and decreased or low blood pressure can develop dementia independent of heart failure. They also found that antihypertensive drugs can counteract the risk of dementia due to heart failure. And the last thing they found was heart failure and low diastolic blood pressure increased the risk of dementia in Alzheimer's.